All right, so the Premier League is back already, of course, but the NFL is next. It's coming up soon. Now, with that being said, there was what I would consider an amazing story, where Tua Tagovailoa was talking about his old head coach Brian Flores. He was on what's it, the Dan Lebitard show. Yeah, that's what it was. He was on the Dan Lebitard show, and basically he described what working under Brian Flores was, because when Tua was being coached by Brian Flores versus now, it is almost a complete night and day difference. Um, like and you see it, and I think that everybody was kind of quick to criticize Brian Flores, or like, maybe say like, oh, this is what he looks like under a real coach, or whatever the case might be. That's what it seemed like, honestly. And again, you get the interview, and he's discussing it, and he said, to be brutally honest, well, I'm going to play the clip, but let me just play the clip. Let me just play the clip. Let me just play the clip. So here it is.
Having a coach who did believe in you the way that he did, and the difference between that and what was happening with Flores.
Yeah. Well, to put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you suck at what you did, that you don't
Again, the world has changed. There's different ways to do things, and I think different people have different relationships, right? And I think that the mistake that Brian Flores made is that he came from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, but he's not Bill Belichick. Like, he saw it. He saw what Bill Belichick did, and honestly, even Bill Belichick, he's out of a job. Is his way of coaching being phased out? To that degree, because I think you can still have that raw rage, intensity, emotion. You look at a guy like Dan Campbell, he's nothing but emotion. He's nothing but yelling. He's nothing but it's encouraging. He is like ride or die with the guys, whereas when you're receiving it, and again, this is very old school, when you're receiving it and it's old school and it's negative, and he's just being kind of chopped down and chopped down and chopped down. I think there's two parts of it. He's not Bill Belichick, and he doesn't have Tom Brady. And again, I think I saw an interview that Tom Brady did, and Tom Brady was like, I loved it. He's like, I really did. I loved it. I love that kind of coaching. I love that he could coach me like that in front of everybody, and everybody had to check their ego. Dude, that is fantastic. That is the culture that they had. That's amazing, right? And that's who he was. But Brian Flores coming in, not having established such a culture, and then not knowing who your quarterback is, whether that's going to work for you or not. And again, whether it's good or not, it's a results-based business, and now you're not getting the results, and you're a dick. Like, nobody wants to be around that. And so I think Brian Flores completely misread that situation. Like, completely. And again, that's part of what you're trying to do as well as a coach, is to be able to read that. He totally misread that. And again, we'll take a little bit more of a look at what Tua Tagovailoa says. But again, it's not about being soft. It's not about one was right and one was wrong. It's more of like, you got to know who you're coaching as well. You got to know who you are as well. This is your first opportunity to be a head coach. Like, you're not that guy.
belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should.
You shouldn't be here again. It's one thing to coach, right? It's one thing to be like, hey, you missed that fucking read. What? Get that read. That's not hard. We're going through it every day. That's one thing. And it's completely another to be like, you are ass and I hate you and you shouldn't exist. You know, like, I'm all for hard coaching, you know. Again, there's different ways to do it. There's different ways to skin a cat, if you will. But, oh man, that's not, I would never back that type of coaching.
To be here, that you haven't earned this right. And then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that.
Again, there's night and day difference, and you've seen it directly in results. Again, we can talk about the failings of the Dolphins when it gets cold, the failings of the Dolphins when it comes to the playoffs, or XYZ. But clearly, one of them is a better results than the other one, and I think Brian Flores really, really stepped in it. And I think the worst part about it too is that then he goes to give. I think calling it an apology is honestly generous. He goes to, I don't like, explain his side of it, I guess, is maybe better, is maybe more apt. And he really, I watched the whole thing, but the part that I caught that was really interesting was that he kind of just says that he's a coach because, his coaches meant a lot to him and helped him grow, and that's what he's trying to do. So he doesn't really address what Tua said. He doesn't really address what he said, and he definitely doesn't apologize. Again, I'm not saying he should. I think it's a good idea media-wise and like kind of people looking at you wise, but this was ill-advised, I think.
I think there's some other questions that are some other things that you guys want to talk about, so I'll address those too. Specific to the comments that were made by Tua, I just want to say, look, I'm happy, genuinely happy, genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had.
Again, that's good. I think up to right there, I was like, this is trending well. He's kind of being classy about it.
And I really wish him nothing but the best.
That's good.
And I think player relationships are very important to me. I think that's kind of the foundation of coaching.
Again, right there, even again, because he could still kind of take a step and be like, that's why I did this, or I think I misstepped here, and maybe I didn't address that correctly. Cool. That's totally cool.
I got into coaching because I was impacted as a young guy by my high school coaches, my college coaches, going all the way to Pop Warner. I got into coaching because I want to make that same kind of impact, positive impact, pour into young people, help them become,
yes,
as KO says all the time, the best.
Again, up until right there, totally fair. Again, you're waiting for the. Okay, now say the thing that you're gonna say about Tua. Like, how are you gonna bridge that gap, if you will?
Best versions of themselves, and that's really my goal always in coaching. So I wish nothing but the best to Tua.
See, and again, you can go through the whole thing, as I did earlier, and he never really says anything about it. He never bridges the gap. Again, I think it was a good start that he had. I'm not asking for it. I'm not saying that he did something wrong or right. I'm saying simply as a media perspective. Again, I'm not in the media, but I'm saying the way it's perceived, I think he misstepped. I really do. I think, he started out so well. He wished Tua well. He said he's happy that he's been successful. And then he's talking about the coaching and what it means to him, and kind of going that route, and then he just never quite brings it home. And so because you lack what's probably the biggest part of it, which is like at least saying, hey, I think he mistook it, or hey, I think I went too far with it, or I am sad that we didn't have the kind of relationship that I wish we would have. All of these things he could have said, and he did not. He just, he had exit after exit after exit, and he's just like, I'm going to keep going, and you're just like, fuck, you're so close. You're right there. You're right there. Just get there. So, again, take a look at it for yourself. But, yeah, that's what I saw, and I think a lot of the comments reflect it. So, yeah, I don't know. That seems really like a tough way to get coached. Where it's like it's almost like only negative. Again, we weren't in there, but from the way Tua described it, he was like, it was just a fucking nightmare. So let me know if you think that Tua is like complaining too much, or if he's spot on, or if the NFL's gone soft.